The voice in his left ear was not a memory. It was a preview. Marcus Bell was the best defense attorney in the city. He knew it. He made sure everyone else knew it too. He won cases other lawyers walked away from. He charged prices other lawyers could only dream of charging. He believed completely and without question that he was always the smartest person in any room he entered. That belief was about to be tested in a way he never could have prepared for. It started on a Tuesday morning. Marcus was in his office reviewing a case file when he heard it. A faint voice in his left ear, quiet, echoing, almost like a recording played from far away. The voice said, "I told you the witness statement has a hole in it. Page 14, third paragraph." Marcus looked up. Nobody was in the room. He shook his head, told himself it was nothing, and kept reading. 2 days later, in a meeting with his legal team, he found a hole in the witness statement. Page 14, third paragraph. Exactly where the voice had said it would be. And as he pointed it out to his stunned colleagues, he heard himself speak in the exact words the voice had used 2 days earlier. He froze mid-sentence. His team thought he had simply paused for dramatic effect, the way good lawyers sometimes do. Marcus knew better. He had heard this exact sentence before he ever said it, word for word, 2 full days early. At first, Marcus thought he was losing his mind. He saw a doctor quietly, paid in cash, used a fake name to protect his reputation. The doctor found nothing wrong with him, so Marcus did what he always did with anything confusing. He treated it like a case to be solved. He started writing down everything the voice said, testing it, tracking it, building a private file just for this. And slowly, the pattern became impossible to deny. The voice in his left ear was always exactly 48 hours ahead of him. It was not random. It was not old memories repeating themselves. It was his own voice, speaking words he had not said yet, exactly 2 days before he actually said them. Most people would have been terrified by this. Marcus was thrilled because Marcus saw an opportunity where other people would have seen fear. If he could hear his own future, he believed he could control it completely. So he started using the echo to win. He heard himself say certain things in court 2 days before trial, and adjusted his entire strategy to guarantee those exact words came true. He heard himself negotiate specific numbers and pushed harder than ever to land exactly on them. He heard himself say, "The jury sides with us," and worked obsessively, day and night, to engineer that outcome perfectly. It felt like cheating at the highest level a person could cheat. It felt like finally having the one thing every successful person secretly craves: certainty. But here is the strange part nobody warned him about. The harder Marcus tried to control the outcome the echo predicted, the more exhausted and anxious he became underneath it all. He stopped sleeping properly. He started double and triple checking every decision, every sentence, every small choice, constantly comparing it to what the echo had told him 2 days before. He was no longer simply living his life. He was performing a script written by a voice inside his own head, terrified of getting even a single word wrong. Then, on a quiet Thursday morning, the echo stopped completely. Marcus woke up and reached instinctively for the silence in his left ear, the way you might reach for a phone that is always sitting on your nightstand. Nothing. He went through his entire day waiting for that familiar whisper to return. Nothing came. He told himself it was simply a glitch, a pause, something temporary that would pass. But the silence continued into the next day, and then the day after that, 2 full days of complete nothing, which meant something Marcus could not ignore or explain away. In the next 48 hours, whatever was coming, his future self apparently had nothing left to say about it. For a man who had built his entire sense of safety on knowing his next move in advance, that silence became the loudest thing he had ever experienced in his life. Marcus became consumed by the silence. He could not focus on his cases anymore. He sat alone in his office for hours, staring at nothing, trying to imagine every possible disaster that could explain why his future self had gone completely quiet. A car accident, a heart attack, something so catastrophic that there were simply no words left to send back through time. He barely ate, he barely slept, he pushed away his assistant, his business partner, even his own teenage daughter when she called just to check in on him. He was so consumed with preparing for an unknown disaster that he was missing every real, ordinary moment of the 2 days he actually had right in front of him. On the second night of silence, Marcus sat alone in his apartment, completely still, waiting for midnight, the exact moment his 48 hours would finally run out. And in that stillness, something quietly shifted inside his mind. He realized he had not spoken to his daughter in 3 days because he had been too busy listening for a voice that controlled absolutely nothing real. He realized he had ignored his oldest friend's phone call earlier that week because he was too anxious and distracted to focus on anyone but himself. He realized that every decision he had made over the past several weeks had not actually been about living well. It had been about winning against a future he could never truly touch or hold, and in trying so desperately hard to control that future, he had completely abandoned the only thing that was ever real, his present. He had skipped genuine conversations to obsess over predicted ones. He had stopped noticing his actual life because he was far too busy rehearsing a life that had not even happened yet. Midnight finally came, and nothing happened. No accident, no collapse, no disaster waiting in the shadows. Just an ordinary quiet night, ending exactly like every other ordinary night before it. Marcus sat there in that silence, and slowly he began to understand something important. The echo had not gone quiet because something terrible was coming for him. It had gone quiet because Marcus, for the first time in many weeks, had finally stopped trying so hard to control the outcome. He had simply lived through those 2 days reacting honestly instead of performing a script written in fear. And a future built on honest reactions instead of obsessive, exhausting control could no longer be predicted in advance. Because it was no longer fixed in place. It was, for the very first time, completely and finally his own. Here is the truth Marcus learned the hard way. The future is not something you can micromanage your way into safety. The more we try to control every outcome, every word, every result, every tiny variable, the more anxious and disconnected from real life we slowly become. We start performing a script instead of actually living a life. We miss the people standing right in front of us because we are too busy preparing for a future that has not even happened yet. True peace does not come from predicting tomorrow with perfect accuracy. It comes from being fully present today, in this exact moment, exactly as it is. making honest choices right now, and trusting that a life built on presence, not constant control, is a life genuinely worth living. Have you ever been so worried about the future that you completely missed what was happening right in front of you? Tell me in the comments and share this story with someone who needs to hear it today.